Hi, everyone. So welcome to English 200. I'm your instructor, Ms. Tiffany Lester-Trocher. Most students just call me Mrs. LT. And I wanted to provide this video for you in case you are unsure of how these online classes work, if you're unsure what you're supposed to do each week, how to find things, what your assignments are going to be. If you're feeling any kind of nervousness or anxiety about this online course, I'm hoping that this video will help ease some of that and start you off in a much better place. So I'm going to share the screen because I'm actually going to pull up our Brightspace course and kind of show you around a little bit. So, all right, here we are. So when you first go onto Brightspace and find this course, English 200, when you click on it, it will bring you to our course homepage right here. And every week, there will be a new announcement over here in this area. You can see right here, we've got the welcome announcement for week 1. There'll be a video every week where I basically just verbally go over what is written underneath the video. So a little blurb that kind of introduces the week, and then an outline of what to expect for that week. This can be a really handy thing as soon as you come to the course, before you even go into the content, is to watch that video in the announcement and take a look at this outline that shows you exactly what lessons you're going to be going through and what the homework assignments will be for that week. Okay, so I do suggest the first time that you come into the course every week, take a look over here in the announcements, and that way you'll kind of have a better idea of what you're getting into once you do come to the course content right up here. When you click on the content, that brings you into the heart of the course. You're going to see the tabs over here on the left-hand side. Getting started is the first one, then week 1 module, week 2 module, all the way down to week 10. Okay, I am not going to go through every single one of those. That would take a very long time. And it's really not needed because once you get through the first week or 2 of the course, you're going to see that every week is set up exactly the same. Obviously, the material and the assignments change, but the organization of the class is exactly the same every week. So I'm going to briefly go through the getting started section and then spend some time looking at week 1 module. And we'll briefly touch on week 2 as well, since week 1 is a little different with all of the business stuff we have to do at the beginning of the course. But we're going to spend most of our time looking at week 1 and getting a feel for how the class is organized and how to best approach the class. Right? So here under the getting started section, we've got several sub-tabs here. Meet your instructor, just a little bit about me. Course overview, kind of literally gives you an overview of what to expect from the course itself. Attendance and weekly deadlines. Hopefully you have already watched that, taken a look at that sub-tab, since it does come before this one. If you haven't yet, you're going to need to, not only because it contains some important information, but also because some of that information is required for the week 1 attendance quiz. And if you haven't watched that video, then you might not be real sure what I mean by week 1 attendance quiz. And that's another reason why you should watch that video, because I go through the attendance quizzes in that video, right? And then how to find your way around, that's where we are now. The syllabus for the class. When you're looking at the syllabus here in the getting started section, it's in a PDF format, and you can print it or download it, right? So printer, download, right? There will be an option to do it as a Word document in the week 1 module though, but it is here in a PDF form in the getting started section. You can come back to it at any time. This one is kind of important, instructions on how to access the textbook, because it is an online textbook. And then the last item here in getting started is instructions for using Google Docs. If you don't have access to Microsoft Word or any other type of common file format, you can use these steps right here to create a Google account and learn how to use Google Docs. It's free, and it's not terribly difficult, but that'll be there all through the term as well if you ever need to come back to it. The two most important items here under that getting started section, though, are attendance and weekly deadlines and where you're at right now. Not only do those provide you with super important information to get started in the class, but again, some of the information in these two sections will be required to answer questions on the week 1 attendance quiz. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the rest of these modules over here and get a feel for how the class is going to be set up. Okay. The first thing you need to sort of keep in mind is that although it is an online class, it is not an easier class. You need to treat this class just like you would if you were taking it on campus. The same amount of time spent inside the classroom and working on things outside, like homework. You're going to spend the same amount of time working on this class as an online class that you would have if it was on campus. Okay, it's not easier. It's just a little more convenient because you get to choose when you work on the class. Okay, so let's go ahead and look here at what Brightspace is going to show us. So when you click on week 1 module, the only thing you're going to see at first is week 1 attendance quiz. We're looking at this from my side, the instructor side. So right now we actually can see everything else. But when you click on week 1 module, all you'll see at first is week 1 attendance quiz. Because remember, you have to take that quiz in order to access everything else for week 1. And again, that's explained in more detail in the attendance and weekly deadlines video. But when we click on week 1 module, notice over here, we have this little blurb that you can read through. And then we have the outline again, the agenda for the week. Looks just like it did on the weekly announcement. It is literally the same outline. So you can see what's in store for you when you first click on the course homepage and look at the announcement. And then you'll also see it again every time you click on week 1 module. Okay, so you'll see here what our outline has in store for us. It says item number 1, week 1 attendance quiz. Of course, because you have to take that quiz to access the rest of the lessons and assignments for the week. Item number 2 is our syllabus review, right? And then course project overview, rhetorical situation, pre-writing, thesis statements, week 1 homework, right? What's interesting is if you look over here on the left side under week 1 module, right? The first item there is also weekly attendance quiz. The second item is also the syllabus review. The third item is also the course project overview. So everything that's here on this outline matches up exactly with the order of these little subtabs in the week 1 module. So this is a nice sort of streamlined visual of what you're doing for the week. And then you come over here and it matches up. It's going to go in the same order and provide you with the actual lessons for each one, right? One way to sort of understand how this all works together, though, is to go back to that idea where if you were taking this class on campus, you would spend 4 hours a week in the classroom, learning new things, having discussions, working on projects, maybe doing in-class assignments, things like that. And then you would go home and you'd have about 2 hours of homework that would need to be completed before you return the following week, right? If you're looking at this outline, how do we sort of translate that to an online course? Well, the way I do it is everything on this outline above week 1 homework, all of these items right here, from the attendance quiz down to the homework assignments, that is the in-class material. This is what we would be doing in the classroom if we were on campus. the first thing we'd do is go over the syllabus together. Then I would give you a little overview of the course project. Then we'd get into our first lesson on the rhetorical situation, then our next lesson, and then our last lesson. And then I would send you home with these assignments. Now, a couple of these assignments, maybe we actually would have done in the classroom together, like the syllabus acknowledgement and like journal 1. But I don't want to make things confusing here in this online format. So I don't put the assignments up here in these lessons, even though technically if we were on campus, we would be doing them at some point while we're going over these lessons. But for the online version, I like to keep everything in the same spot. So all of the homework is listed under week 1 homework assignments. That way it's all in one place. You don't have to wonder if there's something up here that you have to complete and submit. No, you got to go through these lessons, but anything that has to be turned in is listed here under week 1 homework assignments. Syllabus acknowledgement, journal 1, project part 1, and week 1 discussion, right? It's all there grouped together. But it's still a good idea to think of in-class work versus homework. You're expected to spend 4 hours a week in class and 2 hours a week doing homework. That's 6 hours a week total. Now, that's not a big deal when you're on campus. You go for those 4 hours and then you're going to have a little bit of homework. Here online, it's still 6 hours though, even though you're doing it all on your own. So it should take roughly 6 hours every week to go through the lessons and complete the homework. 6 hours a week. Now, it might not match up exactly where the lessons are going to take exactly 4 hours and the homework is going to take exactly 2 hours, right? It might be there are some weeks where the lessons maybe only take 3 hours and the homework takes a little longer. It's really just 6 hours total every week that you should plan on devoting to this class, going through the lessons, completing the assignments, right? If you can sort of wrap your head around that, it can help from the course seeming like it's so much work. It is a lot of work, but it's no more work than what you would be doing if you went to campus every week. It should be the exact same amount of work that you would do if you were going to campus every week. 4 hours there, 2 hours at home, 6 hours total. You're doing it all at home, but it's still 6 hours total. This is what we would do together, all the things we would learn about that week. And this is the homework you'd get sent home with, right? So you want to make sure you're going through these lessons before you attempt to do the homework. Just like if you were on campus, you would need to be in class, learning those things, learning the material, and then go home with assignments to practice those new skills. It's not going to work very well if you skip the lessons and just try to jump into the homework. You got to go through the lessons first. You got to learn it first before you try to do the work. Now, the one item that really doesn't apply to is the weekly discussion. It's listed last, but you can do it whenever during the week. It is not based on the lessons of that week. So it's listed last, but you can do it at any point during the week. You can do it very first thing if you want. But all the other assignments, it's best if you go through the lessons first and then complete the homework in the order they're listed. There's a reason for it. Everything builds in this class. You learn one thing, practice it, and then the next week you add to that and learn something. Or even within one individual week, you have a lesson and the next lesson builds on the first one. So you want to go through things in the order that I've listed them. It just is the most logical way to go through the material. Okay. But I hope that helps kind of seeing how everything matches up and how this part of the outline here, these tabs right here, right from week 1 attendance quiz down to thesis statements, that's your in-class work. Those are the 4 hours we would have spent in the classroom together. And then the homework assignments are the 2 hours of work outside the class. And again, it might not match up exactly, but it should be 6 hours total every week. Now, some weeks, maybe you only spend 4 to 5 hours. Other weeks, you might spend 7 or 7.5. It's hard to get it to match up to 6 hours exactly every single week, because some weeks are just going to be a little lighter and some weeks are going to be a little heavier. But throughout the whole term, 10 weeks, it should have come out to a total of 60 hours spent working on English 200. And again, that includes going through all the lessons and completing the graded assignments. All in all, 60 hours total. That's what we're shooting for. We try to get it to 6 hours a week as much as we possibly can. For the most part, I think it works out. But don't think that just because it's online that you can skip those lessons. That would be like skipping class every week. How do you expect to get a good grade if you're not going to class, right? You got to come to class. You get to decide when. That's the nice part. But you still have to come to class every week and learn the material and then do the homework, right? You can see, we'll go down here to week 2 module and you'll see how it matches up as well, right? So when week 2 opens, you come to the course for the first time. On that course homepage, you'll see the week 2 announcement over there on the left side. You'll see this outline. And here on week 2 module, you can see how everything on the outline matches up with what's over here on the left under the week 2 module tab. So we've got the attendance, week 2 attendance quiz, week 2 attendance quiz, review of week 1, review of week 1, introductory paragraphs, introductions, paragraph development, paragraph development. It all follows. And again, homework comes last on the outline. Homework comes last over here in the module as well. Okay, so if you think about it, you want to go through introductions first, introductory paragraphs. You want to, and then paragraph development, and then conclusions. Right? You don't want to really take these things out of order. There is a reason they're listed in that order. There's a reason why the assignments are, if there's multiple assignments besides the journal and the discussion, they're listed in a specific order as well. But it hopefully will ease some of that anxiety, knowing that, I can come here and look and see, okay, this is what we're doing, paragraph development. Oh, I see there's one lesson here, paragraph basics, a PowerPoint and a video, paragraph focus, a PowerPoint and a video, topic sentences and support, a PowerPoint and a video. And you'll notice every time there's a PowerPoint, there's also a video. I think when you get into the APA and research modules, let's see, like down here in week 3, when we start getting into research, I have it in a Zoom just like this one is, where I share the screen. So it's not 2 separate things. I'm going to be working on that for everything up here in week 1 and 2 to get them into the Zoom format also. But so from weeks 3 on, you get me in a video going through the PowerPoint in real time. So that gets a little different, but there is always a video in some way to go along with the PowerPoints. And like if you want to print the PowerPoint here for, let's say, in week 3, using sources and avoiding plagiarism, there's a link to it right here, PowerPoint, using sources and avoiding plagiarism. You click on that, it'll pull the PowerPoint up on your screen. You can save it, print it, whatever. Up here in weeks 1 and 2, where I don't have it in this Zoom format yet, you go to pre-writing and this PowerPoint right here, for the writing process for pre-writing, you can print it. I don't suggest printing it that way though, or you can download it, right? You could download it to your device and then pull up the PowerPoint on your screen and then come here to the video lesson, press play, right? And then, pull up the PowerPoint so that you can hear me going over the PowerPoint, but you're actually looking at the slides. You're not seeing my video, you're just listening to it and you're looking at the PowerPoint itself. it helps to have the visual and the auditory at the same time. That would be a good way to do it. Again, I'm going to try to get those to a point where they're like these Zoom ones that I've been doing here. Sorry, daughter coming through. So we're here. You've seen how everything matches up, how to go through the order, best way to go about it, how week 2 is going to be exactly the same. You should have taken the online orientation course by now, so I'm not going to spend more time going through how to submit assignments, how to post to discussions, because you should have already gotten that. But if you have any questions about those things, please reach out. You know, don't think you can't ask for help. I'm always here to help. But hopefully this eases some of your anxiety and you have a better grasp on how the course is laid out and where to go to find things. And if you get confused about anything or something just doesn't seem right, you're not finding what you're hoping to find, definitely reach out. Otherwise, you guys are free to move on to the next thing.